Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical, and today for you guys I'm bringing you a Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy news and information video. Today for you guys we're going to be talking about DLC for the N Sane Trilogy, as something very recently has actually leaked, which suggests the fact that DLC will indeed be coming to the N Sane Trilogy. But furthermore, we actually have a little bit of evidence towards what this DLC might in fact be, which is pretty exciting stuff. So let's just jump straight into it. So very recently, 2 trophies have actually leaked for the N Sane Trilogy, and they are actually named under Crash Bandicoot Lost Treasures DLC trophies. Now, as of right now, there are only 2 trophies for the Lost Treasures DLC. These trophies are called the Crown Jewel, and what you have to do is seek and destroy. The second one is a gold trophy, in fact, and is called an Ancient Antiquity, and the description says do hard time. Now, at first glance, there's really no direct sort of hint towards exactly what this DLC could be. However, though, if we actually take a closer look at the trophy icon for the Crown Jewel, it actually shows us one of the enemies that can be found on the level known as Slippery Climb in Crash Bandicoot 1. Now, this picture that's on this trophy icon is an enemy out of Slippery Climb, and the enemy is kind of like this hand that is reaching out of like a prison window, and basically if you touch it you will die. However, though, this enemy is actually not only found on Slippery Climb, but was also found on a removed level in Crash Bandicoot 1 known as Stormy Accent. Now, in case you guys don't know, Stormy Accent is actually a removed level from Crash Bandicoot 1 that was meant to actually appear later on in the game on the 3rd island. Now, the reason behind why the level was actually removed was due to the sheer fact that the level itself was actually too difficult. During the playtesting phase of Crash Bandicoot 1, a lot of people reported the fact that Stormy Accent was so hard to the point where a lot of playtesters couldn't actually finish it. And because of this, the level ultimately got removed from the final game. However, what is interesting is this level is completely finished, and still to this day is found on the files of the original Crash Bandicoot 1 disc. The only actual way to access this level is by hacking means. So from the looks of things, this DLC known as Lost Treasures will most likely be the Stormy Accent level found in Crash Bandicoot 1. Now, to be honest, I think this is a really fantastic way of implementing DLC into something like the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy, bringing forth levels that were originally removed from the game and bringing them in as DLC so that players can finally, after all of these years, experience the levels, I think is a really fantastic idea. There were actually a lot of different levels removed from Crash Bandicoot 1 originally before the final game was released. Now, most of the levels that were originally meant to be in Crash Bandicoot 1 were never actually finished, but still remained on the disc to this day. And these levels are different things like Crash running around this waterfall, Crash also running through this cliffside, and other interesting levels, but for the most part, they didn't really look like they were finished. Whereas if you look at something like Stormy Accent, that was a completely done level, but was removed due to the sheer difficulty of it. So is it possible that those other levels that weren't quite finished back in the day, but still remained onto the game files, will end up being completed levels for DLC in the future for the N Sane Trilogy? Quite possibly. If they're doing the same for Stormy Accent, then I don't see why they can't do the same for other levels that were one day going to be completed levels, but never got around to actually getting finished. And who knows if they'll also do the same for Crash Bandicoot 2 and Crash Bandicoot 3 on the N Sane Trilogy. We'll just have to wait and see. But as of right now, we only have 2 trophies which look like they actually correspond to the Stormy Accent level. Obviously, the first one is a silver, which says Seek and Destroy, so I would say that would pretty much just be finishing the level itself, and if there is some sort of a gem or something within the level, that's probably how you obtain the silver trophy right there. In terms of an Ancient Antiquity, I would say that this is probably corresponding to receiving the golden relic for this level. Now, the fact that time trials are within all of the Crash games throughout the trilogy, it would probably make sense due to the fact that Stormy Accent is so hard. Obtaining the relic within this level is probably going to be a pretty hard task to complete. Now, in terms of when this DLC is actually releasing for the N Sane Trilogy, who exactly knows? Activision haven't actually officially stepped forward for themselves to say anything about this Lost Treasures DLC. The game is, of course, only a few days away from release. Later on this Friday, we will finally be receiving the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy, so I think it is quite possible that around the time of release, we'll most likely see Activision talking about this DLC. DLC. Now, because of the fact that as of right now, it looks like it's only one level for the DLC itself, who exactly knows if Activision will actually charge for it or not? I mean, Stormy Accent itself has always been in the game, it's just not really been accessible by normal means, so whether or not Activision will actually charge for this DLC, I'm really not too sure. I mean, it is Activision, and they do love their DLC shit, so I think it's very likely that they will make us charge for it. But if this level gets included in something like a day one patch, Activision, you got some respect coming your way, son. However though, because these trophies are already leaked and they're out on the internet, I would say it's very likely that we'll know about this DLC from Activision sometime shortly. However guys, hopefully you're having a fantastic day. Thought I would get this news and information out to you dudes, mainly because it's a completely different thing when looking towards DLC and Crash Bandicoot. But we're finally getting it, and in terms of like what the DLC is, I'm pretty freaking happy with it. You know, implementing removed levels as DLC, I think is some of the best forms of DLC there is. So yeah, Activision, as of right now, you're still continuing to do a pretty good job. Just please don't charge me like $20 for like one level, or else I will be pissed. Hopefully guys are having a fantastic day, and until next time guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.